intro music. Every time we do this cinema gets stuck in my head. Dan Schinder here.
And Steven Schinder.
With our guest for the second time. We've got Aaron Emerson with us to talk about the unfolding and blossoming of a phenomenal project that we got to talk about last time you were on. This is episode 124. When was that, Steve? Or Aaron, do you even remember?
Yeah, I don't remember the episode number, but it was a year ago around this time, like this week, almost to the day, I think.
Time flies, and you had your lovely wife with you, which was really great. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you very much for asking. I'm fine. Yeah, it's all good with everything that's going on. Can't complain.
Great. And you got the house all ready for the holidays and everything.
Oh, we're very chilled. We're just relaxed. I'm very fortunate because I have a lovely house, and I have we'll go into it in more detail later, but I have lots of a great company that come to me to play music.
Oh, nice.
Backyard. And I couldn't be more happier than that. That's me.
That's
fine with
awesome.
That.
So let's talk about music. Back in October, the new 20, not 2 folks, but 20 CD set. I can't say that with a straight face. Keith Emerson Variations came out. It's an amazing body of work, and we remember that the last time, around the time it came out, there was so much demand for it that it ended up needed to being restocked. So let's talk about that. How did that make you feel to discover that so soon after it came out?
Here's the thing. So after I just want to be so real about this. It's all of his stuff after his passing, all of his music, all of the stuff that he's added to, written, produced, orchestrated. We could have left it hidden and no one would hear this. A lot of this stuff has been put out there, but some of it hasn't been put out there. And a lot of the stuff, if they appreciate my father's music, this is a wonderful thing to have because it has everything, and I was like, why don't we just put it all on cassette? And it was like, what are you talking about? Let's go vinyl. But it gets expensive, CDs and downloads and the way that everything is these days. I would love everything to be on vinyl.
Can you imagine what would that be, like 30? Because more time fits on a CD than vinyl. You'd have to have like 30 CDs.
Yeah, maybe 40.
Huge.
50.
Yeah. It's one of those that was my first thing that I would love to have had. To just no CDs. Who listens to CDs these days?
Right.
Downloads and everything. But collectors like to have a collection of everything, and this is what this is. This is the definitive of everything. If you love my father's music and if you love what he's done, this is everything that that it's there. And for me, it's putting it to bed. It's really not about the Christmas thing. And it's just people are asking, and we're just putting it all together, and we're doing it in the right way and respectfully.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy with how this has come across.
I think that thank you for all that, Aaron. I think more than, I got goosebumps, more than putting it to bed. I think it's more that you're rebirthing it, and there's going to be newer, younger generations of musicians and music fans that might know some of the more popular things. And their parents, or in my case, their grandfathers, will get this and they'll go, wow, what is that? Like Carnival, what? There's really such a interesting rabbit hole of discovery here. And it's great that folks did do that.
And it's taking that into another formula. Mm-hmm. And if they can, like other guys, back in the day, Oscar Peterson, Jack McDuff, Jimmy Smith, you use those things and you bring them in to the new era and
Yeah.
you can really do stuff with it.
Yeah.
Because I gotta tell you, I fucking hate the music at the moment. What's going on?
The
I
contemporary
don't know
stuff.
what you guys have got going on over there.
Yeah.
I bet it's better than what's going on over here in England. It's just like boom, boom, boom.
Oh yeah, you mean the new stuff?
It's like they're turning it out like a factory bullshit.
Yeah.
And I'm very lucky to be playing with some really, really good musicians. Loads of musicians,
Yeah.
and I'll get into that later. But it's when I hear all this sort of material, it's just closure for me.
That's great, because we need that.
We would go, okay, so if you haven't heard this before, here it is. And if you want to hear it all in one package, here it is. Because it won't be happening again. It's done.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want it to be like I hate that sort of cash cow and doing that whole sort of thing. I've got to be honest with you. It's just I am respecting my father as best as I can, because it happened very quick, and I was left with okay.
Yeah.
What do I do now? What do I do now? And there are pieces here, and honestly, it's scattered. It was a messy guy. I got to honestly, oh my God. There's I've got a trunk full of manuscript papers that we're going to have to go through, because there's so much unwritten stuff, and people need to hear it. If they don't want to hear it, they don't have to hear it. If they want to, great. I respected his playing. He was my idol. But I'm into a different type of playing than he played. Obviously I couldn't play like him. I'm trying to play backwards, and I'm trying to get a piano to lift up in the air and fly around
without
backwards.
banging the bridge of your nose.
When you play in Shoreham, it's difficult.
I know Steve's got some very specific questions. I want to throw one more thing out there, though, first, regarding the reblossoming of all of this. One of the most, I think, amazing things about what your father's music did that very, very few others did is, for the generation I grew up with, and people a little older than me even, it brought the average music fan, well, prog fans aren't really average music fans, but all things being equal, my point is, it brought the average music fan to become familiar with music by people like Genestero and things like. Your father's responsible for bringing those influences into pop music and prog. The average music fan would have no idea about any of that wonderful classical and symphonic music, and that's important. And now you're doing it again with his music, and that's just amazing.
Well, I couldn't play that. I'll be fair. I was brought up around, listening to classical music and jazz music, especially Oscar Peterson, and now all the things I'm interested in is that. Back when I was like 18, 19, 20, Bryan Adams, Tina Turner, Level 42, anything that was going on, The Cure, which honestly still I love, and the Cult and all these great bands, and and Dad didn't get that. It was like, where are the keys? How come the keyboard player is just playing that one note and that two notes? Oh, I don't get that.
Yeah.
But for me, I got, the whole thing, because it's, playing, it's not always about playing all the time. It's just like, come on, sometimes take a break, listen to this guy, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Not saying he didn't do that, sorry. I'm saying he didn't do that. But for example, Lucky Man, he only played at the end. of that track, and from the beginning, I mean, two great Greg Lake classics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, this is a very expansive collection, you know, all 20 CDs. And was there anything that surprised you, whether it be a new discovery or a rediscovery, like looking through the whole catalog of your father?
Sorry, say again. So, rediscovery of the catalog. Oh,
Oh,
well, here again.
yeah, like in this box set, was there anything that surprised you, whether it be something that was new to you or something you rediscovered? Like, what were some of the surprising
Well,
finds
yeah,
for you?
good question. Thank you for that. Yeah, good question. Because Honky, for one, wasn't one of the. It was probably his first. I think it was his first Keith Emerson solo album, and that's when we were in Nassau, and it would have been 1976, 1977. And you know, back then you didn't have the internet, you didn't have what's going on, you know, and I think it was a tax evasion situation.
Mm.
I think we moved out there. I think it was Switzerland first, and then over there. And I don't know, I was probably 5 or 6, you know, can't complain. But I remember, you know, him playing in Compass Point Studios in Nassau, and Bob Marley coming over. And my dad had a little boat that we water skied on, and they taught Bob Marley to water ski. So we're on the boat, and Bob Marley's water skiing, and I mean, I don't know what I'm allowed to say on this show, but you know,
you could let it fly. It's
you get
okay.
the idea.
Yeah.
It was that bad. That's what I was told by
While he
my
was water skiing?
by my mother. Yeah.
Wow.
No,
Oh.
no,
Okay.
no, but it was a fun day. It was a fun day. Taught him how to water ski. But Compass Point Studios, where they did Honky, and Life of Key Salt Key is actually a great song. I love Salt Key. It's great. Love Beach, Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Yeah.
There's some good songs on there. You know, I mean, for me, looking at that where I'm at, I just wish he would have just gone rough on his Hammond and his Rhodes and just gone really just like got raw rather than gone so synthesizer and commercial and tried to be like the Bee Gees cover and tried to be commercial, because that's when for me, that's why they lost it.
Well, I have a question about that, Aaron.
They've gone back and just gone.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can dispel this myth or confirm it. I heard way since that album came out, I've heard for decades since that came out that there was that maybe this isn't true, so I hope this isn't insulting, but here's what I heard. That was a screw you album to the record company because they were holding them to contract that they had to turn out one more and they wanted to be done. So they said, great, you want one more? Here you go. And they did that. Is that at all true?
You know what? I have no idea.
You never heard anything
I
like
actually don't know that story.
Okay. Very curious.
You might be right.
I'll have to ask Carl next time we have him on.
Atlantic?
Yes.
Is it Atlantic?
Yeah.
I don't really know. I believe they wanted. All I remember is that Armored was his name.
Armored Erdogan. Yeah, it might have even been WIA at that time. Warner Electro Atlantic.
He wanted to make them into a 3-minute 30 singles band.
So maybe that was their Screw You album.
Were coming in, which ELP were not.
No.
He tried.
The solos weren't even 3 minutes.
Genesis did it well.
Yeah.
Yes did it well.
Yeah.
You know, Pink Floyd did it well. Led Zeppelin, you know, you can't fault that.
Yeah.
But, you know, ELP were trying to do that. And I think with Love Beach, they were trying to become a commercial band. And living in Nassau, when you don't have what's going on in the world,
Yeah.
back on the internet, you know, you come back to London And then you're in, Camden in the World Cafe with the Sex Pistols, and punk rock is now come in, gone, fuck you,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're like,
The
who are
rebellion.
you? And then rebellion, this whole anti, and Dad's living in Nassau. Is he's come back to London. It's like, oh, what's going on here?
Yeah.
If you back now, here, you would know about what was going on, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And it's funny though that it turned out that John Lydon and Dad were friends at the end of the day. I've seen some Sex Pistols films, and they slate at ELP.
Oh, wow.
One with what was the story when Dad was in a Camden, and what's his name from the Melody Maker,
Chris Welsh.
Welsh,
Yeah.
and he grabbed him by the balls. And then it all kicked off, and then they got bad reviews after that because he didn't play the game.
Oh.
And Sex Pistols was on the one side of the bar, and the LP on the other side of the bar. They just got back, and there was a slating match. But the funny thing is, I've seen pictures with Dad and John, and it's so funny because bless him, he lives in Santa Monica. Not far away from where my dad used to live.
Yeah.
And they hung out, and they got on really, really well. And all these sort of things you hear about, like, for example, Oasis and Blur and the Rolling Stones and the Beatles. It's marketing bullshit.
Yeah, it's just like Wakeman and your father. There's always this mythical
war
between them,
honestly,
and they were friends.
Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for bringing that up, because I'll never forget that. I remember, because I was just young, and I didn't know, and I grew up thinking that my dad was like God. I saw this cape and this progressive rock thing and all these sort of things, and then I was like, who's Rick Wakeman? I don't know. Someone's trying to copy my father. Who's he? But I didn't get that from my dad. It was just something that just sort of like, you grow up with, when you're in the countryside and you have no media, some things happen in your head. You know what I mean?
Internet at the time.
No, you just don't know.
Yeah.
It turns out that couldn't be more than the opposite. And I never forget this. This is a true story. I was in Morton's in Sloane Square. I'll never forget this. And it was the first time I sat at a small little table upstairs with Rick Wakeman and my dad and me. And I sat there, and I would probably have been about 26, 27. And I just sat there thinking, wow, I'm really at the coolest fucking piano table ever right now. And I looked over, and it was what's his name from Crosby, Stills and Nash, the one with the mustache, Crosby.
Yeah, David Crosby.
Yeah, it was that he didn't come and say hello, but I just looked over and I saw him, but there was nothing like that. I looked over and just thinking, wow, this is really cool. And they just got on really well. They just had the thing is about Rick, he not only is he the most amazing keyboard player, but what a personality. He's the funniest guy you would ever meet.
Yeah.
He could sit in a courtroom and just tear the whole room apart.
Yeah.
And Dad had his own silly jokes and stuff like that. But the two that, I wish I was there when they were doing, they had some funny stories, but the rivalry, no, I didn't understand that bit. There wasn't any of that.
Right.
Yeah. And his also, was it Rick Wakeman's son, Adam?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And Oliver, both of them are just.
Both of them. I mean.
Really good. Yeah. In their own right. And
they're
different
serious. Yeah. They're so good.
One of the surprising things that we found in this immense catalog is really a gem, because I don't think any of these that I'm going to mention exist anywhere else together. And that is all the cinematic stuff that your father did, the motion picture scoring and soundtracks. And it's great that those are included so that everyone can hear all those together. Did he ever bring up any stories about how some of those situations came about? Did directors approach him? Did he approach it? Do you know any of the background on any of those, Aaron?
The only thing I know is when he was doing Nighthawks, in New York. And we popped into the studio, and there was a big orchestra there, and I saw something going on, and that's all. And then we walked out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You know, and then Inferno, when he did the Italian, you know, this is it. Oh, so the other thing is, with Nighthawks, with Sylvester Stallone, he had something going on there. I was told that people wanted to have him, you know, when you're in Hollywood, when you're in there, you have something, you have to be in there all the time, don't you? You have to keep going.
Yeah.
But he left, and he went back to the, you know, the countryside, and he lost that opportunity. He would have been really good carrying on doing orchestral music. Of course,
Yeah.
you have to be in that vibe. But he did some very good stuff with Inferno, and I love the Inferno soundtrack. It's really good. It was one of the first horror films that I actually was like quite scared of, especially the bit where she's diving down into and she has to get the key. Do you know that bit? You know, have you seen Inferno?
Yeah, but I don't remember that. But
she has to dive down the key, and all these dead bodies come up. When I was little, that was a big deal for me.
Yeah,
that was
stuck with you for a while.
Especially when the glass comes down and slices her throat.
Yeah,
hangs there. I can go on.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is I think what generally happens is with films and TV shows, people go to see them and then they hear the music and they're like, oh, I want to find out more about this music. But in this instance, it's the other way around. Like for me, like I hear these soundtracks that your father worked on, and I'm like, oh, these are amazing, and I kind of want to check out the films and like the things that they're a part of, you know. So it's like a different way of going from one medium to checking out the other one.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. That's well put.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the Lucky Man video in just a bit. Before we do, bring everybody up to date with what you're doing. I saw a video just like 3 days ago of you jamming with a band. Looked like it might have been in a club playing some really cool up-tempo blues and whatnot. Is that your regular band? Is that one of the many things you do? What are you up to?
Thank you for bringing that up, because basically the Jed Cutler band, you know, if you haven't seen this guy play, you know, you need to watch out for him. He's like the new Jeff Beck.
Yeah.
He's around for my area. He plays and plays and plays. He is you know, he's a spirit. He's a great guy, a lovely guy, and he just plays. Not for the money, not for anything. He just plays for love, and he's done all his life, and he's just got this edge. And here's the thing. So his drummer friend, James Anthony, you know, he just brings the vibe. I mean, this guy stands on his stool, smashes the drums. I mean, he's energy. Is a vibe. So I knew them from around the area. You know, I just know them around, and they, you know, just pop over. And I'm very, very fortunate to have a cabin in the back of my house to have bands play in. And
is that where that video was made, Aaron? Is that where that video was made?
No.
Oh, okay.
Which video? Which video?
The one video? From this was like 2 or 3 days ago. There's like purple and blue lighting behind you, I think. And I think it's that band that you're talking about.
I think we were playing in a pub in Shoreham called
that's what it looks
Wellington.
Like. Yeah, the view I saw was from like
with my son.
You're right. Yeah, your son did that.
Yeah. Like, so basically, there's not much rehearsals with this band. He's like a Jeff Beck rhythms, blues, singing, firing, talented motherfucker. You know, and his drummer James is just like boom, 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 and the bass player Oliver Cart is just like boom, 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 boom. And then when we all get together, it just goes like, we have no rehearsal. We turn up at the gig. He says it's in the key of E or A, and then we hope for the best, and boom,
Yeah,
it
I
goes
love
off.
that kind of thing too. It was great.
It's rock and roll.
Yeah, absolutely.
Raw. It's
Yeah,
real.
yeah,
Just does that.
yeah.
And if he's watching this, he's going to hate this, but I keep wanting to call the band the Dirty Vinyls, but he hates the word dirty. But I love the Jack Cutler band
How
because
about
it is
filthy?
a
How about
band. But
filthy or grimy?
honestly, he's going to text me in a minute and he'll hate that. But would you like, Willie Nelson? What's the song? Roll Me Up and Smoke Me When I Die.
Yeah.
Know that one? The Allman Brothers, JJ Cole.
Oh,
We do all
cool.
that, we're just having fun, man.
Yeah.
It's just like
And all
fucking
that
fun.
music is stuff you can totally just rip
Man,
on and
just
extend,
rip
and
it,
yeah, people are
lay back and
dancing.
have
Yeah.
fun. You know what I'm talking about? And then but
No
I've been
beach, no Hawaiian shirts.
just having fun. I've been very blessed with loads of bands, and also, my mother who 25 years now with Tim Stoll from a band called Laid Back. Do you know these guys from Denmark?
I don't know.
Oh, you should, because Baker Man and all of those, he has been inspiring to me as well. He is a fantastic musician, so you should
I'd love
hear
to.
of Tim Stoll, Laid Back. Please do.
Cool, absolutely.
Very good. And then I also play with a covers band, and then I have the Gyratory All Stars, which is a band that I joined, which is a 10-piece jazz funk band.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw the stream last year and it was
Yeah.
really good.
Kind of a la Galactic,
It's like
Galactic type of a thing, or
it's like I jumped in with them because listen, guys, I'm just having fun with all of it. It's just fun.
yeah,
I love the fun. We're not gonna be like mega Taylor Swift people, I just love playing. And I'm so lucky to have a place where everyone can come together and just play some music, and we just have fun. I got Paul who put the whole thing together. Ben the guitarist, the Jez, Joe, Will, Kevin, Nick, Jerry, the singer, who is honestly Jerry Clavier, the soul singer. He's immense. He's unbelievable. And Joe Ellis, the drummer, unbelievable. There's so many great musicians. I'm playing with so many bloody great musicians. So it's great. The great thing about this, if one thing folds, then I've got another band to fall onto. And then I sit there, and then I've got a dance band. And I sit there with Ash Huntington and Kev and John, and we sit there and we do electronic music. We're doing music all the time. Basically, we're just constantly doing stuff. And I'm working with Gary and Bunge with the Dawn project from a couple of years ago, and an album's going to be coming out next year. And the Gyratory is coming next year, so there's going to be a lot coming out next year. And you know what? I just want people to hear that I'm not just playing my dad's music.
yeah.
I literally all the time I am playing so much music. I want to release stuff just to show people that I'm playing and with great musicians. And it's
That's
you know,
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before
Did I
we
get it off
talk,
my chest? I think I got it off
yeah,
my
no,
chest.
that's great, and it's an open forum for you. And before we do talk about Lucky Man, I know Steve has
go on,
one other question we were going to ask too, so I'll let Steve ask it.
Yeah, regarding the box set, we noticed that the Christmas album was not in this set, so we were curious about whether there might be plans to release that separately as a holiday release in the future, or do you know anything about that?
What? My father's Christmas album.
Yes.
Yeah. Being that it's not included.
No, I don't know anything about that being done. No.
Do you know why it wasn't included with all this other great stuff?
I don't think it was involved. We had total control over all aspects of what's going to be on there, but how can I say this? Silent Night was really good. I don't know why the rest. I think the whole situation was no.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right.
Odd.
If it, there, it's there, but
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like it's not
no,
accessible. We just thought it was odd that it wasn't included.
no, yeah, no,
Okay.
no,
All right.
All
yeah.
right.
No worries. It's
Well,
not like there's not enough to listen to.
yeah, we already
There's
got
a
like
lot to
20
listen
great
to.
CDs.
And
Yeah.
I have to say that Beyond the Stars is an album that I have no idea why it's not been shown enough. It's my favorite one.
Oh, interesting.
Have you heard Beyond the Stars?
Yeah.
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 The orchestration?
Yeah.
I just thought it was really nice. I thought it was very Christmassy.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
There are some in there. I mean, obviously, the Mark Vanilla band. I mean, Mark Vanilla. We're going to go into that with Lucky Man,
Yeah.
but he was a great companion, partner with Dad. But yeah,
Yeah. So let's
Yeah.
thank you for that. Let's talk about Lucky Man Steve. That's just you go ahead and talk about it. I'll read the lineup. There's some great musicians on this, and then before we're done, folks, Steve's gonna pop the link to this amazing video into the comments, and you can also see in the post where you can buy this amazing set of music. So it's right there from Cherry Red Records.
Yeah, so I think you actually told us when this Lucky Man project was in the works last time you were here, and it got released to promote this box set, like back in October, I believe. So you got like you and a bunch of other musicians whom some of our audience may be familiar with put this amazing video together, and people can see this on the Spirit of Unicorn Music YouTube channel. What was it like gathering all these people?
so this is the weirdest thing. Thank you for asking for this question because I'm glad to get this off. It was during COVID,
Right.
and I'm sitting at home, and I was talking to my friend Brett Copeland, who I used to play in a band called Lost Drag in LA when I used to live in LA. And I left in 2003, but we still keep in touch. And you need to check him out. He's a fantastic singer. He's got a great band, and we were talking over lockdown, and I saw friends of mine that were doing, like Nathan James, they were doing Imagine, John Lennon, and they were doing all these sort of things. And I was just thinking, well, doing nothing here. Let's just try and do something. I did it with Luca from the Baroque Project. By the way, do you know the Baroque Project?
Yeah.
Luca Regini. Oh my God, man. We're good friends. Holy, unbelievable.
Great.
Unbelievable. They're very good friends of ours. Very good. Anyway, so that was it. So it just started and we started talking, and Brett mentioned about why don't we do a song, and we tried to, and I've never done anything like this before. Someone sends a file, someone sends it back, someone does
It's
this,
all remote.
it's the weirdest thing. I'm just not. I was just so out of my creative space doing this, and then it was just like it went on, and it was my fault. Bless Brett, but it was my fault, and I was just like, Brett wasn't. He was ill at the time. And I was just like, I need to get this going because it has to happen now. It was like 3 years later, so there was no rush. But anyway. So it just one of these weird circumstances that started happening, and Jeff Downs came in, and I'm like, what? Jeff Downs.
Yeah, I'm gonna,
is
if you don't mind,
now-
I'm gonna jump in and read the
Go
instrumentation real quick.
on.
Then you
Go
continue.
on.
So we've got some guy named Aaron Emerson on the Moog modular synthesizer, which we'll talk about. Nathan James on vocals, Jeff Downs on keyboards, Mark Bonilla electric guitars, Chuck Wright on bass
Yeah.
guitars, Matt Fuller
Yeah.
on acoustic guitars, and I spotted the
Yes.
mandolin being played by Rick Stalin and Zach
Yes.
St. John on drums. And it's an amazing rendition of this song. And one of the things I asked
It's a
you,
different. Yeah.
well, I'm sorry, I was just going to say one of the things I asked you before we went on that I want you to please elaborate on was, folks, if you haven't seen the video yet, when you see it, you'll see Aaron playing his dad's behemoth Moog setup at the museum
Thank
where they're
you.
keeping it now. So my question, because I selfishly wanted to know before we started the show, I asked Aaron, if you don't mind me asking, did you record that at home and then go to where that unit is and play it, or are the sounds we're hearing from that unit? And you said,
So no, this is the true story. So I played the line at home, MIDI, sent to EMIAC, and Vince, and his crew, unbelievably transposed, put it through somehow through that MIDI keyboard, through the MIDI, the Moog.
yeah,
And what I played at home was transmitted through the MIDI, through that, and it came out as that sound.
that's crazy.
But I did not record the sound there.
Yeah,
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
I recorded it at home, and I sent the MIDI file, and he created a MIDI file for that, and it played that sound.
Yeah,
from
it's so cool.
That keyboard, from that Moog back.
Yeah, very cool.
Because it was in Philadelphia. Yeah. So then, when that was done, it's all sounding good, and then we've all got these great musicians coming on board, and Mark Bonilla, of course, said yes, and he'd done the fantastic keyboard guitar solo in the middle, and Chuck White from Alice Cooper and everything, he's doing the bass, and Nathan James from Inglorious doing the vocals, and basically I was like, oh, if we're gonna continue this, I've got to be, I can't do it on the keyboard. It's gonna look like cheap. It's gonna look weird. So I went over to Philadelphia. I went with my friend Matthew Farrer, who mixed with Steve Mack and mastered the track.
Right.
And around the corner, I can't remember the name of the street, but there was a shooting, and there were 2 bullet holes and 2 casualties, and we were around the corner, and we were like, oh, I love this place. Oh shit. and then as we were walking by, there was like, we took pictures of the bullet holes, and the police was just like, what the hell are you doing? Get the hell out of here. And it was like, you Brits. And we were just like, this is a really bad idea. And we started running, and it was just really weird energy. And it was when we got it done. We got the when I played it, I was playing the Moog exactly the same way. And it was exactly the same sound.
Yeah.
But so it is, to be fair, exactly the same, because it was the sound that I was playing. And when I played it originally on the track, it was MIDI'd into that. And then I went over there and I played it on top. So it actually, yes,
That's
it was
amazing.
the original.
That's cool.
It was. And I will say 100%, yes, it is.
Great. Thanks for answering that. That's cool.
Yes.
I know people are going to want to know, when they see it. And the only reason there's 2 reasons why we don't show it here.
I wouldn't have done it otherwise, because there's no point, because that song that Greg Lake wrote when he was 12 years old, that my dad turned up late to do the solo at 9 o'clock in the evening and he was late, and he was just like, well, okay, one of these songs, you know. And Greg Lake was a great writer, and he did it in one take. Do you know how long it took me to do that take? It took me about 54 takes. It was in the pressure.
What was the hardest part? Was it navigating the
And I wanted to
portamento?
be exactly right.
What was the
I
hardest part about it, Aaron? Was it navigating the portamento between the wee wee wee? Was it that, or was it the line?
Well, Vince Propello got all that worked out for me.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I've got to be honest with you. I'm a piano. I'm a Rhodes. I'm a Hammond guy.
Yeah.
And I like a little bit tweaking here and there.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm rustic. I'm organic. I'm rustic, and I just love just plowing into a band that guys know what they're doing.
You're more into the Leslie than you are the oscillators.
Oh no, I love the Leslie. Yeah. I love to have Leslie, but this is also heavy.
Yeah.
You know, and luckily enough, I had my dad's Hammond SK1. That was the last keyboard that he played at the Barbican in London. And I'm really sorry right now because the name has totally escaped me. But he knows who he is. Kev. Oh, sorry, I'm so sorry. And one day I opened the door and there was this big parcel, and I opened it up and there was this keyboard, and there was this note in there, and it was like, you should have this. It's your dad's. And and I still have that. It's my it's Hammond, and it's so good. But he didn't have to do that.
That's really nice.
It could have been but he did that, and there's good people out there.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
the most amazing thing. I'll never forget that.
Absolutely. Very cool. So Lucky Man is such a great choice, but we're curious, were there any other songs or song titles considered? Like, I don't know, Benny the Bouncer or something.
I'm literally done with it now. I mean, no disrespect, but I love my father's music. I love all of that. And my son has also played a lot of my father's music, and now he's on his own journey.
How old is your son now?
And he's 18.
Okay.
And he's a fantastic bass player. He's so good at bass playing. It's like unbelievable.
Oh, wow.
He loves the bass. So basically, I am not just saying this, but when he comes home from school, all he does is he sits in his room and he plays the bass. And then he goes 3 hours on the piano. Oh, this is the piano. Can you see this? Let me just do this.
Yeah.
There.
Nice.
The back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, so he just sits
nice upright
all the time. Actually, wait a second. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
Okay.
1 second. I don't drop it. Oh, I won't drop this if I drop this. All right.
Aaron will be right back with us, folks. There he is. Oh, good grief.
Holy shit.
Is that what I think it is? Let's see.
Okay, how do we do this?
Oh,
there.
wow.
There you go.
It is what I thought it was. Yeah, it's a bust of your father. Wow.
Yeah,
That's weird.
That's amazing. That's an amazing.
Can we have some music?
Yeah.
Can we have some music going? Dun, 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 dun.
It's great. Wow. How old is that? When did you have that made? Or did he
that would have been done in 1977.
Wow. So the works
Very cool.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with Lucky Man,
Put it on a rotating cake stand.
I've got to find some ways. Oh, hold on. Just keep talking.
Okay.
1 second.
Folks,
No,
chime in.
You know, when he turned it, it kind of reminded me of the "Yours Is No Disgrace"
Oh,
music
that's
video
funny.
with the
Yeah. Folks, chime
but
in whether you're watching live or on the archive with your favorite work by Keith.
yeah. And
Oh
I
no.
really like this
He
holiday
would have loved
ambient.
that. He
I put a hat
would
on it.
have loved that.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
I'm gonna get so much hate mail. Yeah.
No, you won't.
Anyway,
But yeah, Lucky Man is a
so
great song. You know, we talked about you know how Lucky Man is very much you like you said yourself. Greg wrote it when he was 12, but it also has your father's stamp on it with that bit toward the end, especially. And when I first, you know, I was thinking about this recently, like what's my favorite Emerson, Lake and Palmer album, and I think I can probably guess Dad's, but I really do think that that first album might be my favorite. You
yeah,
know, it just
mine too.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, nice. Yeah, like
mine too.
you know,
Sure.
some
Yeah,
bands when they have their debut album, you listen to them and you might be like, okay, they're getting there, but they're not quite
sure.
to where you expect them to be. But here, that first album, they had it already. That you
Yeah,
know, and
yeah,
uh, beginning with that track, "The Barbarian," you know,
yeah.
Yeah.
instrumental. I don't know, you know, either of you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in the rock world, opening with an instrumental it might be considered kind of a risk, but it was just so good and it really displayed the influences and what the band could do and from start to finish, like up to Lucky Man, like it's just a
Yeah.
great album all around.
Yeah. For me, I liked all of them up to Works, and then I like bits and parts of everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Bits and bit pieces. I thought Black Moon was interesting. There
Yeah.
was, you know, a bit. It could have been better.
Yeah.
That's just me, you know.
Okay.
And
Pirates
Free,
is my
Brother
favorite thing off
Berry
of
is
Works.
a lovely friend of mine, and there was some stuff there. I guess it was around the area, but there was some great stuff there. Um, in the hot seat, not so much.
Oh yeah.
The last one, not so much.
Yeah.
Sorry, but that was really crap.
Yeah, I think Dad might have missed that one when it came out, and I told him about it later, and he's like, "Wait, what?" And
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
um,
correct.
It
Yeah.
was bad.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
I just, you know, it's just for me, when I would, here's the thing. Okay. Here's the thing, which is so frustrating. He would talk all the time about, and he would only listen to jazz music and orchestration. And then he, you know, this last thing, he wanted to be a conductor. And he conducted an orchestra, and he wanted to be an orchestra and conduct and make music and stuff. You know, pop music wasn't him. Rock music, all that stuff, that wasn't the thing. You know, that wasn't his. He wasn't. You know, even if he made the best rock album, he wouldn't be interested. He was not interested in any of that.
right.
You know, he didn't want to go to concerts. He didn't want to go backstage. He just wanted to go home. He just wanted to chill out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he wanted to retire and he wanted to get a cottage in Cornwall and be a fisherman. That's what he told me. He didn't want it anymore. He just didn't care. He wasn't into that. Well, like a lot of rock stars want to, you know, he wasn't into it. He just wanted to write music. He wanted to, you know, do his thing. And when his hands gave up, his two fingers, and the annoying thing is I had no idea about any of this, but the focal dystonia thing, when the muscle tissue, and I had no idea. And then I realized, looking back on videos, he's playing with like three fingers.
Yeah. With the other two curled
And
up.
he had another, at the Barbican, he had another keyboard player. And I was like, and I didn't know. I was like, why is there another keyboard player? Why can't you play that? And he didn't tell me. I started thinking that's a bit odd, and there was obviously a underlying problem that we didn't know that he knew. And when you're like a sportsman or a tennis player or anybody that uses your, and you can't do it anymore, it must be very difficult.
Yeah.
Right.
And the only thing I do remember is that he did get a lot of hated emails. He got a lot of hate people coming at him saying, you need to give up, your crap, your shit, you shouldn't do
Terrible.
It is.
and that hit him. And he was drinking a lot. And he was taking the wrong pills. And I think that was a thing that I didn't see him that much, but if I'd have known, I would have done more. But it's just the way it happens. Yeah. I can talk about it now. I would have crumbled years ago, but it's still painful. But it's a shame. It's such a shame. It's such a shame. He was such a lovely guy. He was such a
If I may ask you, Aaron, and thanks for sharing that. I know it's such a vulnerable thing, but can you think of? Oops, I just kicked a dog. Sorry, baby. I got a dog under my desk. What's one of the biggest, most meaningful pieces of advice in life he gave you that still really sticks with you?
Well, I've had two of them. And one is with Robert Berry. Whatever you do it well. It's just been planted in my head forever.
Yeah.
And my father, when I was in Stonehill, and I remember I was half asleep, and he said, "You'll make it one day. You'll make it." And that's the only memories I remember. That's the only memories I remember. And I remember Greg Lake one time when I played. They were doing a show, and I was playing a little ditty, and Greg came over, and he was so interested. I'll never forget that moment. He was like, "Wow, that's really lovely what you just done." We'd never had a lot of social contact with Carl or Greg. You always hear all this stuff, but Greg was always really lovely to me. Mm-hmm. And when you get these guys that have all this energy, there's always going to be clashes. So it's a shame how it went, but they're right. They're all great musicians, and it's how it all ends up.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us, and hang on the line with us a little bit after we disconnect. And folks, again, the link is right there in the post, no matter where you're watching this. And even if you're listening to it on anchor.fm/Yesshift, go get this amazing collection. It's just, it'll turn you on to music you either don't remember hearing or that you've never heard, as well as many of your favorites through the years. Aaron Emerson here with myself, Dan Schinder, and Steven Schinder on Yesshift. Thanks for following what we do. And Steve, where can they find us?
They can find us on facebook.com/Yesshift, or after the broadcast, youtube.com/@Yesshift, and you can even write to us at yesshiftpodcast@gmail.com. So thanks to everyone who tunes in. And
yeah. Happy holidays, and we'll see you all soon with more fun. And there's Keith.